$276 in profits trading NVDA and Meta. Let's dive into the trade recap. So here we are looking at my TradeZilla dashboard, and we have, this is going to be kind of a combo. I decided not to post a video or a trade recap yesterday after taking partial profits. I took partial profits on NVIDIA. So I closed out and locked in about $113 yesterday. And then today, did nothing with that trade, but I just took one trade, and it was a day trade on Meta, which was $162.50, realizing about a 2.3R. So let's talk about both of those, and then we'll dive into it inside of TradeZilla. So let's jump over to NVIDIA first. This one is shouldn't be a super large surprise, as this is a setup that I think is quite common in my arsenal and what I love to look for. So I played NVIDIA. I got in here on the break at 505, and I have been in since, and I took off half of my gains. My stop loss has moved up, but I locked in that half as we have a CPI and a PPI Thursday, Friday. We're up very, very nicely. So the chance of this, this is not going to be a red trade because I'll stop out at break even, but the chance of this turning largely against me is essentially zero. I've locked in gains. We're also going to dive into the prop firm platform in a second, and I'll refresh that page so you can see how it all looks. So that's NVIDIA. The next one was on Meta, which was the strongest stock on my usual list of suspects today. And if I jump over to the 5-minute chart, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see really a consolidation that was uptrending and pushing up into high of the day. As we broke a new high of the day at the top of this blue line, I entered, and then I sold into this move. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how that played out right here. So let's jump into it. We had a couple things to note. If I scroll down, we have 2.36 planned R multiple, realized 2.43. And we had entered at around, well, this is actually 11 a.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Central time. I'm going to call this, I'm going to just log these really quick. And this was taken, you could say off the 15-minute chart, but I'm going to go off the 5-minute chart. Just makes the most sense. And I'm going to replay this feature right now. So custom, again, 5-minute chart. So if I take you to the 5-minute chart on Meta and I enter it again, this is at around 10 a.m. Central. So let's move this up to show you guys what we're looking at. Increase the speed to 30x. So you really just have a big move. It's a bull flag. I mean, you had a big move and a consolidation that is pushing and eventually breaks to the upside. So I'm going to be here every single day when I see these setups on my stocks that are pushing up, that are strong on the day, that have relative strength. Compared to the S&P as well, I'm going to play them. And so as we broke up above 368 or so, that was like the high of the day, which was right here. You're going to see that shortly after I enter. Boom. So I enter at 368.42. And my target here was 370, kind of a psychological level. And I made sure that my risk was tight. So I put my risk right underneath the lows of the candle that broke the new high of the day, which would put me right around 367.50. I put it like 367.49 along those lines. It got close, stopping me out. Well, this wick got close. It got about 30 cents away. And then after that, we end up seeing this consolidation. This consolidation kind of was a pain because we kind of sat here for like 30, 40 minutes and didn't really do much. But when we watch these recaps back, things move a little bit faster. So as I'm seeing it, right, and it starts to push up, and here comes a push. We got some volume, and is it a false? It ends up, this is actually a false little pop, but it doesn't break down. So we kind of saw these signs when this wick we get this big upper wick and it does not break down. I was like, this looks pretty good. It was like either this is it's gonna fail right now, or we might have a chance. And it ended up being that we had a chance. And there's no like hoping, praying. It's just a setup at the end of the day. I'm not moving my stop losses. I'm not moving take profits, but just watching price action and gathering what I can from the price action just so I can see things repeatedly multiple times. And then I have this in the back of my head for next time. And I can log that, take note of that, etc. So then there was the take profit as we got above 370 and we lock in the gains. Now, one thing that we're not contributing here, that we're not counting, that I guess TradeZilla is not counting, is if I jump back, this trade made 162.50. But technically, I am paying fees. The way it's calculated is kind of weird, which if you were to look inside of the broker or the I guess, prop firm that I'm using for this, it's showing it as losing trades, but the losing trades are just the commissions that are being taken out. So technically speaking, there was $12 in commissions here, which is kind of high. I'll be honest, it's kind of high. However, there's a push and pull. There's give and take. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. So let's just log into one of one right here. We can see that our account balance is $25,579. So we're nearly $600 into the green. Our win rate is 54%. These are not actually accurate, okay? Why? Is because if I jump in losing rate for, I actually don't even have a loser. Do I even have a loser in this account? I don't even think so. I literally don't. If I jump back, and I'm not even saying that as like, I'm saying that seriously. I don't have a loser. I traded Bitcoin, NVDA, Meta. That's it so far in this account. There's been no loser. But it's taking those commissions, and that's what it really is. So if I go to trade history, you'll see what I mean. So this is kind of confusing, complicated, but you're seeing this -6, -6, -6. It's counting as commissions, and the volume is 0.01. So it's not really it doesn't really know what to do with those, and that's really all it is. So here is today's gain, though. So we just factor that. Not that I'm hiding that, right? I guess technically speaking, you can cut these numbers by a bit on TradeZella. It is what it is. Eventually, they're kind of still in beta mode on how they take in MetaTrader 4 and how they factor that into all this stuff. Not really too relevant. I just look at these numbers and I'll track them, and it is what it is. The thing is, this prop firm gives 100% payouts. It's like, I think, the only one to do so as of right now. I'm sure more will potentially be going that way. But what I think is more important about this is, at the end of the day, we're making nice progress. And so we have a profit target of $2,000 for phase 1. There's a second phase as well. And now our daily drawdown numbers and our max drawdown, max loss numbers are here. We haven't gotten anywhere near that. So it's only 2 days, 7 hours, 24 minutes, as you can see right here, since the challenge, since I opened this account and started this challenge, I guess, or since I started the first trade. I'm not in any rush. I'm sizing very similar to how I was sizing with the other account that unfortunately they dropped stocks from. So I'm like, well, there's no use for this. But you can kind of see that it looks pretty good. And if you do the math too, like, it's going to kind of throw off. It's going to kind of skew the numbers. But we'll refer back to this because this is going to be the actual, I guess we'll always refer back to this at the end of the months and whatnot when we calculate the total profit and loss. I like to use just TradeZella to keep it all consistent from, on the front end. But overall, we're up 579.48. And if you look at the total losses, we have lost, I'm actually covering it up. We have lost $30, and that's in commissions and fees and whatever. So that's factoring in. It is, a pain, but it's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme. And I kind of look at it as, at the end of the day, when you have a prop firm, like, you can get an 80-20 split where you take 80% profits, give them 20. I had a 90-10 with the last one. And this one, technically, it's 100, but they have higher fees with the brokers they use. So it kind of eats back into it. It is what it is. So ideally, you build up enough capital, and I want to build up a lot of capital in the longer term so that I can do this on my own accounts with not having to worry about anybody else in a prop firm, and do this with, I don't know, Webull or TD Ameritrade or something like that, where, I guess, Schwab now, where you can just kind of go in. Oh, you can have, extended hours orders, pre-market orders, all that stuff, not have to worry. And no commissions, right? Because there's like no commissions on, these accounts these days, which would be cool. And that'll just, that's not going to make or break a trader, in my opinion. That could be a piece that helps get you or net you more money at the end of the year. It's not going to make or break me or you or anyone else. The reality is these numbers, like, you got to do it. You got to get it done, and you got to get the numbers, and those small little things here and there will help, later on. So as of right now on the month, we're looking at an 83% win rate. We had one loss on gold that was, I guess, technically logged, which is down here. But pretty good. And it's on the back of, what was also, a pretty good, month or 2 months prior. So, or 3 months, I guess, the past, we had a weird, a wonky November, a fairly flat, very, very, very small green, a good October, a good December, and so far we're on a good pace. I'm in no rush. I think that's something that needs to be said too. I'm in no rush because the problem with a lot of people in the prop firm space that they want to rush, they want to push, and they want to get funded within a day. And once they're funded, they're going to change how they trade. I have absolutely no interest in changing how I trade now versus later once funded. Because guess what? You're not trading with real money anyway. It's the same shit, different day. And so that's how I want to go about things. That's the mindset I want to have and the approach I want to have. And the sizing and the scaling will come with time. But I think this past year, if you have watched, and it's almost a year, well, no, it's not. It's about 6 months since I started posting these trade recaps. If you go back over these trade recaps, and there's an entire playlist that you can go back and watch, you will see the progression over time. And I think that this past 6+ months, and it's almost a year now of dialing in a system for myself, has been massive in how I think, how I feel, and how I execute. I don't want to say every single day because I don't trade every single day. There is absolutely no rush, no pressure behind it right now, which, to be honest, makes it that much easier, okay? And I hope that that's coming through in these trade recaps and videos because that's the point. No one's going to copy my trades. You're not going to copy the exact same trades. You're going to have different targets. You're going to have different stops. You're going to have different setups. You're going to have different ways you look at things. But it's the approach. It's how I'm critiquing myself. It's how I'm looking at things, how I'm approaching these challenges and whatever. I think that could be useful, good and bad, because there's a lot of shit that I do wrong or that I need to improve upon, right? But I think that hopefully, right, with these videos, it's out in the open and you can see that, and that's the biggest takeaway that someone could get from these trade recaps. A 10.79 profit factor is amazing. I don't think it's going to stay that way because, again, we haven't really lost. We technically only have one red trade this month, but even that, it was like a swing from gold that technically never hit a stop loss. So it's not even it shouldn't even have been realized. It's just because I switched accounts. They had to cut my position off. So that's today's update. When it was like 275, something along those lines. We're technically up more because we have unrealized gains open on NVDA. We've only locked in like $154 of that. So we'll see where we lie later on this week. Any other recaps and stuff, I'll try to make in a more effective manner. And when I say that, I mean, I don't want to just make like, oh, partial profit day. Like, I'd prefer the trade recap to be once I close out a position. So once I close out the next trade, whenever that may be, I'll make the next trade recap video. Thanks so much for watching. Links to TradeZilla to track all this stuff will be linked up down below. Any other links and resources down there as well in the description box. If you're hanging around for these videos, I appreciate you. Leave a like if they help, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.